People, we're taught how to think, we're taught how to feel. We don't know how to think for ourselves. We don't know how to feel for ourselves. People say feel free, but they don't really want us to feel free. And I felt a freedom in, first of all, just doing something that everybody tells you not to do. I just love Trump. That's my boy. Like, you know, it's like so many rappers, you'll look at a video of Snoop Dogg loving Trump, but then he get in the office and now they don't love him. Like, Trump is one of rap's favorite people, right?
But we talk about this, that before he was elected president, people in hip hop, it was an in thing to put Donald Trump in your rhyme somewhere.
And by the way, I am in hip hop, but I'm not just in hip hop. I'm a black person in the black community, but I'm not just that. I feel like one thing is people try to minimize me to artists, hip hop, black community. Yeah, I'm always gonna represent that, but I also represent the world. When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? You know, like, it's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race, blacks and whites being one race. That we're the human race. Do you feel that I'm feeling? Do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
I actually don't think you're thinking anything. I think what you're doing right now is actually the absence of thought. And the reason why I feel like that is because, Kanye, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe whatever you want. But there is fact and real world, real life consequence behind everything that you just said. While you are making music and being an artist and living the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice. Frankly, I'm disappointed, I'm appalled, and brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real. Bro, you gotta be responsible, man.
Bro, I'm sorry I hurt you.
You gotta be responsible.
I'm sorry I hurt you, bro.
Your voice is too big. You got.
I've always been of the opinion that reactionary politics are the politics that you default to when you don't have understanding. The reactionary politics are usually tailored to sound like common wisdom. They're tailored to sound like, they're tailored to appeal to the everyday person. They're not draped in technocratic language. If you've been ignoring politics while you were busy making it as a celebrity, for example, you're probably going to stumble upon some reactionary opinions. The reason that I make this channel, the reason that I show up on other channels that disagree with me, is because the people who are politically naive stumble upon this content and don't find any kind of dissent. They take it because it's what's available, usually because it's what's popular in a system with monetized political speech, where you know, whether it's cable television or the internet, your capitalism is always going to enrich reactionaries because their political positions are you know, exaggerated and hyperbolic and easy to sensationalize, and market to the lowest common denominator. They're easily consumed because they're usually uncomplicated positions about in-group, out-group politics, in-group, out-group preferences being exploited. This brings us to Kanye West. Kanye West is well, I don't have to really explain who he is, but it appears to me that Kanye West has been in the ivory tower, displaced from the struggle, displaced from everyday people, displaced from everyday black people, long enough that he does not have an understanding of what his words mean. He doesn't understand the substance of the right-wing political speakers that he's endorsing. He's coming from a very image, ego-based place, from what I can tell. It looks like he is, and you know, you've got edgelords all over the place on YouTube. So we have a lot of people here who are here's another example of famous people being right-wing because it's contrarian, because it's the edgy thing to do. The creators of South Park have been quoted as saying that there's no way to be punk rock in Los Angeles while being a liberal Democrat. Now, I am not a liberal Democrat, but what I will tell you is that there is nothing subversive about conservatism. It is literally impossible for conservatives to be punk rock, because punk rock is not about preserving traditions. I don't think the average person thinks about what they mean when they talk about conservative is the new punk. This is part of one narrative here, where somehow by supporting tradition, that during a time of progress, right? Because that's the implication, is that Kanye exists in a liberal space, or Kanye exists in a progressive space, or people who exist in these spaces, like universities, for example, are rebellious because they're protecting quote-unquote traditional values, which to me is this is like a contrarian's position, but it's hollow, like a lot of contrarianism is. Dissent is important, but you need to not confuse popularity with honesty. You know, his most recent comments from Kanye West are sort of standard Fox News boomer talking points about how black people are responsible for their own slavery. He said 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice. And again, he has landed upon egalitarianism under capitalism. He has landed upon the mistaken idea that somehow being rich or famous, or having what Kanye has, that any black person working in a menial job, all they have to do to be Kanye West is try. Kanye West doesn't understand that success under capitalism, but particularly for people of color under capitalism, is the equivalent of somebody winning the lotto. It happens incredibly rare. It happens rarely. It happens to very few people, and it's kind of happens at random. It's almost like a fluke of the system. Kanye West being where he is not because there's something exceptional about Kanye West. There are rappers who are better than Kanye West, that are not famous, that are not rich. There are producers that are better than Kanye West, that are not famous and are not rich. He just happens to be the guy in that position. He happens to be the best guy in that, who lucked into that position. I'm not saying he's incompetent, but I'm just saying he's I think that there's a certain brand of wealthy person who it feeds their ego to embrace a narrative that people who are disadvantaged are responsible for just not trying hard enough. Look at me, I did it. If I did it, you can do it. And maybe he's come upon all these ideas and beliefs honestly. But that doesn't exonerate him. He's still wrong. He's still punching down. Now, this should not be a shock. This should not be a shock that a wealthy person who does not have their ear to the street, it should not be shocking when someone like Kanye West looks at Donald Trump and gives him a chance. It shouldn't be shocking when someone like Dave Chappelle tries to give Trump or Trump supporters, I'm not saying voters, but I'm saying Trump boosters, the benefit of the doubt, because it doesn't carry risk. When Trump's tax policies and austerity fuck black people up, they're not going to fuck up Kanye West. They're not going to fuck up Dave Chappelle. They're not going to fuck up Oprah. Or, you know, I've never been a big fan of elites looking down on plebs and saying, oh, be reasonable, give it a chance. It's not your ass on the line. And if your ass is on the line and you're a fucking pleb talking about MAGA or, you know, give Big Boss a chance, you know, it's incomprehensible to me how wealthy people can, you know, try to impose this form of politics on poor people. Because, you know, the implications are not negligible. But back on topic. So, for all the centrists and Fox News boomers that are going to defend Kanye today, and as much as he muddies the waters with tweets like, "Oh, Emma Gonzalez is my hero," again, he comes out as a reactionary. And then he is presenting himself as a centrist liberal, and to me, these are equally morally bankrupt positions. One is a position of actively endorsing existing power, and the other is not taking a defined position against existing power. In both cases, you are either a reactionary, or you are a functionary. The centrist is a functionary of existing power. So, you know, this is a bummer, but remember that there's no such thing as a celebrity that's on your side.